Hello, I am Aparna Mandal, Senior Product Manager with Akamai for our WAF, and we are here at RSA 2026. I am joined by Ryan Barnett, who is our lead threat researcher. So, Ryan.
Hello.
How has your experience been so far?
Good. RSA is always fun, exciting, lots to look at, lots of new products, things like that. Yeah, awesome.
Moving to the cool thing that you're working on, as our WAF threat research lead, you get to see a lot of cutting edge attack landscape changes, right?
Yeah.
What has your experience been so far, and what are you really seeing in the offensive AI landscape?
So offensive AI and AI in general, as we know, especially here at RSA, it's exploding. Anybody who's gone around the vendor floor, will know everything's AI powered, AI augmented. So for our team specifically, right, as you well know, but we're in charge of the WAF product, right? The detections and keeping pace with attacks and how to stop those. So offensive AI exploding from penetration testing, red teaming, bug hunting, how do you find vulnerabilities? And all these products now are using AI to augment what they would be doing manually, but they give that knowledge to the tool, takes it to another level with speed and expertise and things like that. So there's commercial offerings, and many of our customers are starting to adopt those, as we've discussed. And then also there's open source tooling. So open source tools can be augmented as well. Tools that have been around for a long time with these attacks, like SQL injection. For people who are in the weeds like me, you have tools like SQL Map, right? So it's very targeted for SQL injection, but it's up to the operator to figure out the command line tweaks. How do they want to run it? What do they want to do? So that's the expertise of the person driving it. Well, now there's versions out there for free. You can go on GitHub and get SQL Map AI. Mm-hmm. So it's okay, now you have an LLM augmenting. So traditionally we'd say, well, there's more script kiddie level. They're not very experienced.
Right.
And I got this tool, right? And they're just throwing stuff at our customers' apps and, we block it, but they don't always find something. Well, the AI is kind of leveling up what they're able to do. They're able to find more stuff, makes it a bit more challenging.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So trying to quantify this challenge part that you just mentioned, I'm assuming AI is being used to accelerate the vulnerabilities, the finding of these vulnerabilities. Yep. Do you have some numbers that we can look for, some context?
Yeah. So we always want to try and use public information just for this context, for these types of discussions, so people can go look it up themselves.
Right.
So there's some that aren't as more real world, but to get some metrics you can discuss. So DARPA actually funded an event. It was called the AI Cyber Challenge this past year. And I was actually out at DEF CON, right, in Vegas in August. And they were giving the results. So it was very interesting to see they had all these different teams that were using AI and LLMs as part of the tools that they set up. And then they'd had different rounds of this competition, and they'd go against different types of applications like industrial control systems, automotive industry, retail, whatever it might be. And what was stunning when you try and put some sort of quantification on time, number one, it's the volume of what they found. They found 54 vulnerabilities. And then talking inferencing and time to make those decisions. And cumulative across those 54 vulnerabilities found, it was just under 4 hours of compute.
Wow.
It's not a lot, right? The output of the number of vulnerabilities in that time, if you're talking at that microsecond, it's still pretty fast, right? So you have that. And then there's other open source tools that are out there. And as we've discussed, that's what my team does. We're actually analyzing these tools, trying to see what they do. There's one tool in particular called HexStrike. That one's interesting because it can call up all sorts of other tooling and kind of drive it and orchestrate it. And it's kind of like that SQL Map comment where it's, we kind of know about these, but it's a little more efficient in what it's doing and it's iterative. But what was interesting was there's underground forums where people, as soon as this tool's made available, well, obviously threat actors are interested in leveling up their pipelines. And there was discussions that we saw where they were able to, at the time, there was a Citrix vulnerability, but there was no proof of concept code yet. So they know there's a problem there, and it was like remote code execution or file upload. And they were talking on this underground forum that, I used TechStrike, and in under 10 minutes, I was able to upload web shells. The AI just learned how to exploit this based on that trial and error. So that's a different time component of just 10 minutes. Finding a vuln, exploiting it. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from what you just narrated is it's not just a matter of like AI is being used for identifying advanced threats.
Yeah.
It might be old threats that the AI-assisted tools are finding, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, all those don't go away. And there's volumes, lots of those out there. And yeah, the AI is very good today, especially with what we're typically dealing with, those traditional web attacks, at finding those at volume and at scale, especially things like cross-site scripting. So yeah, it's able to find those pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think one thing else that we were talking about is in like the bug bounty space, right? Yeah, so like obviously we're interested in real threat actors, what they're doing. Bug bounty is a whole different kind of paradigm, partially because then our customers directly know. They're the ones getting those vulnerability reports. And then typically we'll get involved if they want us to help mitigate something. So in the bug bounty space, it's been interesting. There's some metrics that are released by HackerOne. They really survey the bug hunters on their platform. So some interesting metrics there in that space is the volume, like you were saying, of these traditional things. So at the time when they did this survey, there was almost 600 vulnerabilities that were identified and reported by like what they're calling hackbots. So yeah, a hacker may use AI to augment their pipeline, but they're not always, in this case, being the human in the loop and the human actually sending in the report. They're like, hey, I'm just going to let my bot pipeline submit this. So like there's a big volume there. And then out of those almost 600, I think it was 78% were, like you said, more traditional cross-site scripting. So they're very adept at finding those types of problems. But then the flip side, like for our customers that are running those bug bounties are, people hear the term AI slop or hallucinations. It's still kind of the same bucket that although there's almost 600 valid reports, mostly cross-site scripting, more than half of all reports submitted weren't even valid. They were like junk. And so it's just noise. But it's a generalized problem that I know our customers would deal with is AI is going to create tons of volume, whatever it is, whether it's valid or not. We got to deal with it.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, and which we had anticipated at some point of time, right? The way AI is moving, it is going to change attack landscape pretty much from the acceleration point of view. The velocity of the attacks are going to increase. There will be a lot of garbage attacks, which we continue to detect. But there will be a lot of these false negatives also that will start getting through your security defenses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And what we really need to do is we need to modify our defenses so that it's able to match the speed at which the attacks are evolving.
Yeah, exactly. I know one thing we were talking about, which matches that from continuing with that bug bounty theme. There's AI vendors out there that are doing this kind of pen testing, particularly in the bug bounty space. And my number one concern is the false negatives. We have to reduce those. And what was interesting was they had found a vulnerability. They had reported it to this third-party security vendor. The vendor was going to fix the code, but in the meantime, they put in some quick kind of threat detections to block that. Well, then when they went to do the retest, the AI, yes, it retested, but the AI said, oh, well, let me see how good this is. I know there's a vuln there. Now that I know that there's a vuln, I'm going to keep permutating. And very quickly, it found an evasion of what that, initial protection was.
Yeah.
So that's very translatable to the world that we deal in.
Yeah.
With looking at attacks and blocking those, but it can find evasion so quickly that it's a problem for us, that we have to be able to respond.
Yeah. So attacks are manifesting at breakneck speed. And hence the defenses must evolve as well.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because it's not that even in the past, attackers couldn't get through. It is just like they are getting augmented by AI so fast. That even the script kiddies will probably get smarter with the help of these tools.
Yeah. So what's interesting then, I'm focused on that metric of WAF bypasses. How quickly can they find them? Well, that's what we're doing to block attacks. The problem is if there's a valid vulnerability for our customers, then how quickly are they responding to actually fix the code?
Yeah.
So this is where I'll kind of turn it back to you. Like, how are customers doing with like their time to fix?
I mean, unfortunately, I think while the attack landscape has changed so much that attacks have started getting through faster, for the defenders, the problem still exists. By the time you get to know about something,
right,
and then you identify what is the fix and you roll it out safely, mind it, like for you, it also matters how much benign users you start affecting.
Yeah.
Right? So the job of human defenders like you is much tougher because you can't just stop attacks. You also need to think about the experience of the benign users. The days that it takes to remediate is still insane. Like, it might take days to weeks and in some cases months, depending on the complexity of that particular attack.
Yeah, exactly. And I know our customers have challenges, whether it's an API or a traditional app. Maybe the APIs, they're a little faster to iterate that. It may take them longer in a traditional app to fix the code. I think there's also some scenarios where they're using third-party applications. Maybe they don't own the code, waiting for fixes. But if customers have such a elongated mean time to remediation, it's like, how are we doing, with our WAF updates to try and help solve that problem?
Yeah,
right?
and
So
you bring out an important challenge that customers have. Like, customers have relied on their security vendors, on their security solutions for having some temporary gap, right? Because you need to secure all your doors, all your outlets. So typically WAFs have presented as the first line of defense, where we come in, and we have typically helped customers block such kinds of attacks and we not let the attackers be able to exploit the vulnerabilities. So it's a good question for us that how are we going to keep up with the times that are changing? And there were a few different things that we need to do. One is we need to be able to help people like you to be able to release updates faster. But on the other side, with all these updates as well that we do to accelerate how quickly you're able to do your research, how quickly you're able to get information, you still will not be able to match the machine speed because you got to sleep at times, right? Irrespective of the time of the day, irrespective of the circumstances, machines are still operating.
Right.
But we have constraints. So one of the things that we started testing out and doing a POC around was, can we use defensive AI for something like this? Can we stop these threats, detect it faster? And this journey started for us like over a year ago. It's not quick for us to be able to develop something. And that's where what we recently released with AI-powered WAF detections, we are doing exactly that. We are learning from our network traffic. What's really happening? What is getting through our current defenses? Can we build faster detections for those, faster identifications for those? And can we have our human in the loop, which is operations team, research team, actually validate it? So 3-step process. We learn from the traffic, we identify that, and then depend on humans like you to be able to help us accelerate that process.
I think it's interesting when I look at counterparts on the other side, whether it's threat actors or bug hunters, because I interact and talk a lot with bug hunters. We have a very frenemy type of relationship, right? And so seeing what they do with their pipelines is, I need to define whether you're using specific things like quad skills. They need to put their knowledge in. This is how I attack. This is how I find vulnerabilities. Here's how I exploit them. And they define that structure for the AI. And then, like you said, then the AI is able to do things faster, continuously, without the human constraint. So yeah, it's been an interesting process working with you to go through how does threat research work and what are the bottlenecks and, why is it not as fast as we'd like it to be? And then we're able to augment it with what you were saying. So for me, like the best part was being able to very quickly find those evasions.
Yeah.
You leveraging our own AI and ML pipelines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been really cool.
Yeah.
So trying to think back to like the customer benefits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, why are we doing this at the first point? So what would you say are some key things that we're helping the customer with? Like, what's the burden we're lifting for them? So,
I think there are a couple of things. You need to learn what you're not able to protect. So taking the advantage of AI to be able to uncover those areas where we are not able to protect, I think is one of the key aspects and the vital critical point that we are doing with this particular innovation.
Right.
That we are able to learn from our own network traffic,
Yep.
that what is it that current detections are not passing through, because you can't protect what you can't see.
Right.
You got to see that first. The power of data that flows through Akamai also helps us identify that how much of this information is being exploited across our different customer bases.
Yeah.
Right? We have like 4,000 plus customers on just our security solutions. We have much more using all the different solutions that we have.
Right.
And we have trillions of data passing through. And in today's world, data is king for any AI-related applications.
Yep.
Or use cases. So to be able to leverage that AI, the insights from the platform, and convert it into actionable intelligence,
Right.
that we can then identify or use to identify the attacks that are passing through,
Yep.
is one big benefit, because we are learning from our own traffic.
Right.
The second benefit is using AI to be able to like create these very targeted threat signals or detection signals.
Yep.
I think boosts our speed of security. Like
Right.
we already had adaptive security with our core WAF engine, adaptive security engine, but we have taken it to the next level that will help us prepare for the AI mediated era. It's kind of stepping into the autonomous
Yes.
state, right?
Well, yeah, we have to get to match the speed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So another thing you and I know have been talking about is like what types of things are we catching? What are those gaps? So I think a really good conversation point for customers to understand is that attack chain, and saying, well, look, this isn't like some super fancy evasive thing. It's threat actors, bug hunters, whoever it is, oftentimes early reconnaissance stages, they're just trying to find something that is a vulnerable point. They're not exploiting it yet. So this process that we've developed is very good at earlier identifying that behavior and stopping it accurately.
Yeah.
So then they won't find something that they can then try and do an evasion, right? So I think it's really moving that forward is a big benefit to customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to wrap it up, I would say the times are changing, attacks are changing.
Yep.
And to keep up with that, we are changing our defenses as well to be able to release our protections faster.
Yep, absolutely. It's a bot arms race. And so, yeah, well, we're in the race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Thanks for tuning in to this conversation.